Hey Internet, I tried to fix my camera settings and I think I might have made it worse. Anyways, you've probably heard of K-pop demon hunters. Unless you've been living under a rock, I assume you've heard of K-pop demon hunters. It's a big hit in my household, and though it's not necessarily for me, I thought it was pretty good and the action sequences were definitely worth the watch. But it got me thinking about the broader topic of animated films in general. So sit back and get ready to listen to me blab on and on and on about a bunch of moving pictures. But before we move on, here's an ad I made before I started messing with my camera settings. So you can tell me if it's now better or worse in the comments. You can tell me in the comments and also like and subscribe. Thanks. Hey, do you wear clothes? If the answer is yes, then do I have some news for you? I drew some pictures and then I uploaded them to Redbubble, and now they're clothes. Clothes that you can buy. So head on over to Redbubble and buy some clothes. Like this Zip the Moon Rat parody shirt. Or these Marvel comic parody shirts. I really like parody shirts. So head on over to Redbubble and buy some clothes. Hey Internet, welcome back. So like I was saying before, K-pop Demon Hunters is kind of the new main squeeze with the animated musical crowd, with its hit single Golden climbing to the top of the charts, to it going into theaters for singalong performances. It has taken the world by storm. Very similar to whenever Frozen or Frozen 2 came out, and those songs were getting radio play. Yeah, I just said radio play, sue me, I'm old. But even as an old man, I think K-pop Demon Hunter's success is great for the animated talkies. On a side note, is it just me, or does the term talkies sound like a slur against movies? Anyways, K-pop Demon Hunters isn't the only animated film to have great success this year. Did you know the highest grossing film this year is an animated film? Please excuse my extremely poor pronunciation, but the film Nezha 2 has made over $2 billion at the global box office. Now, I saw the first installment of this series on streaming years ago. My son and I had a lot of fun with it, but we watched it a couple times, and that was that. Out of sight, out of mind. So I was shocked when I looked up the global box office for films this year and saw it on the top of the list. We've seen animated films break the $1 billion mark, but for it to top the list the same year that we are watching other big franchise films struggle at the box office is impressive. Obviously, a lot of factors go into these things year over year, but it's still great to see so many animated films crushing it. That brings me to what I guess the main point of this video is. Why the f aren't big franchises producing more animated feature films? Obviously, there are big franchises that are animated, but some franchises seem to be against bringing their animated content to the big screen. Like, let's take a look at some of the biggest franchises in film. Marvel, Star Wars, DC, and Lord of the Rings. From 2008 until now, there have been only 7 animated feature films from these franchises. Star Wars: The Clone Wars in 2008, the Lego Batman movie in 2017, Teen Titans Go to the Movies in 2018, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse also in 2018, DC League of Super Pets in 2022, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in 2023, and Lord of the Rings: War of Rohirrim in 2024. Now, the reason I'm focusing on 2008 is because prior to that, the most recent film from these franchises is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm in 1993. Alright, so what's going on here? Are all these movies just losing a ton of money at the box office? Well, I generated this fancy little bar graph. In the data, I included the production cost with an estimated marketing budget, and then put that up against the global box office of the film. Let's talk about each franchise, starting with Lord of the Rings. As you can see, War of Rohirrim lost a little over $30 million at the box office. I personally think a lot went into War of Rohirrim not performing well. There didn't seem to be a strong marketing push, and it almost felt like they were putting it into theaters for the people that wanted it while expecting to lose money in the box office. Money that they could make up later through merchandising and streaming. Did they expect to lose the production budget of the film? I doubt it. I also wanted to mention the style of the film. It felt a little flat in comparison to some of the modern animated features. They went with an anime art style, which is fun for people like me, but I don't think it was something that was going to galvanize the Lord of the Rings fan base as a whole. I also don't think it was super eye-catching for the average moviegoer, if they even knew it existed. A lot of modern animated films have an iconic style all their own. I think that making a modern style based on the Rankin Bass Hobbit films would have been a better move if they were really trying to make an impact with an animated feature. What we got reminded me more of one of the DC animated films, the ones that don't go to the big screen. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it overall, but I didn't expect it to shake up the box office. Lord of the Rings is probably the franchise I would cut the most slack out of these four. Sure, they only have one modern animated feature film that had a theatrical run, but they've only had 7 feature films from 1999 until now. For one of those 7 to take a stab at an animated feature is a pretty good track record. So let's move on to Star Wars. This one might be more interesting to me. Until Disney bought Star Wars in 2012, they were in a similar situation to Lord of the Rings. 7 featured films, with one of them being animated. But in the case of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it was profitable. When Disney took over, they didn't run away from the animated content that had been going on for years, but they have kept it on the small screen so far. I think this was a misstep. Like, look at a movie like Solo. I always thought that movie would have been a prime candidate for an animated feature. I probably like the Solo movie more than the average Star Wars fan, but if you can't bring back Harrison Ford, then why not just give me cartoon Harrison Ford? And I know that might sound silly to some people, but there was quite the uproar about recasting Han Solo, and that's something that could have been completely avoided. Also, the fact that Lucasfilm had a strong run with animated Star Wars. There was already a fan base there that was ready to watch more animated Star Wars. Do I think all Star Wars movies need to be animated or should have been animated? Probably not. But I think there are a handful, especially whenever you're bringing back characters from the original trilogy, that it would have been wise, especially while you were waiting for the technology to catch up to do things like Luke Skywalker and The Mandalorian. So I don't really have much more to say on Star Wars. I just genuinely don't understand why they are not making more animated features. But moving on, I'm going to talk about Marvel and DC kind of at the same time. Just jump into the comic book movie aspect as a whole. Because if you're comparing Star Wars and Lord of the Rings to DC and Marvel, DC and Marvel have a lot more films. And I know DC got burnt back in the day with Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, but maybe now more than ever, when we see these comic book movies making less money at the box office, when it comes to the ancillary characters, I think it's about time to expand animated features beyond just kids' movies, like Lego Batman and League of Super Pets. We've seen the start of this with Spider-Verse. Did you know that the Spider-Verse movie, Across the Spider-Verse, was more profitable and made more money at the box office than all of the other comic book movies that came out this year in 2025? And when you look at things like the cinematics for the game Marvel Rivals, who wouldn't want to see that as a movie? It's insane to me that these franchises are willing to take a gamble on smaller characters, and they're taking that gamble in live action. All while the last 5 movies that they've made and put into theaters that were animated were all profitable. Now, we got close to getting another one, as we saw with the leaked demo of the Batman Beyond movie. But maybe it's time to get that project off the shelf. After looking at the numbers, this entire situation just makes less sense to me. These films have been profitable. These films cost less to produce, and yet we get less of them. So that's all I got for this one. But what do you think? Do you think these big IPs like Star Wars and Marvel and DC are late to the game and they need to be making animated feature films? Or do you like the way things are going currently? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.